Let's talk about a feeling, a really specific feeling that for some of you might be, well, a little too familiar. It's that hypersensitivity to things that just aren't fair. We're going to explore the mind of the integrity keeper and find out why they're not just sensitive, but actually essential. So, does this sound familiar? You're in a discussion, maybe it gets a bit intense, and then someone hits you with that phrase, "Why can't you just let it go?" It's so frustrating, right? It feels like they're completely missing the point. And it happens with the smallest things. You see someone just waltz to the front of a line, or you overhear a colleague tell a little white lie. To everyone else, it's nothing. But for you, it's like a scratch on a perfect surface. It feels wrong, deeply wrong. And that gets us right to the heart of it. See, this feeling isn't about being argumentative or needing to be right all the time. It goes way, way deeper than that. When you stand your ground, it's because it's the principle of the matter. You're not trying to protect your ego, you're trying to protect a rule, an unspoken agreement that you believe holds everything together. Okay, so let's get into the why behind this feeling. Because there's a really cool psychological concept that explains so much. It's called the systemizing brain. Think about it like this. We all just know that if you drop an apple, it's going to fall. Gravity works every single time. It's a perfect, predictable system. Well, for someone with a systemizing brain, social rules, like being honest or waiting your turn, are supposed to be just as reliable as gravity. And you can kind of see it here, right? You've got the physical world, which is governed by consistent laws. It just works. But then you have the social world, and your mind expects it to follow the same kind of logic. So when someone breaks a social rule, it's not just annoying. It feels like watching an apple fall up. It's just fundamentally wrong. And that is the absolute key. It's not about that one person cutting the line. It's about what that action represents. It suggests the rules aren't absolute, that the system has a bug, a flaw that could corrupt the whole thing. So let's take this a step further, because that tiny little flaw can feel like a huge crack in something we all rely on, the social contract. I want you to imagine something. Picture our whole society as this giant, incredible orchestra. Everyone has their instrument, everyone has their sheet music, and when we all play our part correctly, it's this beautiful, harmonious sound. But then, one person plays a wrong note. And that wrong note? That's the small, harmless lie. That's the person who ignores the red light. It's one little thing, right? A single deviation. Now, for most of the audience, they might not even notice it. Or if they do, they can just tune it out. But for you, it's like a nail on a chalkboard. It's a jarring, clashing sound that ruins the entire piece of music. And that's why it hits you so hard. You're not just hearing one mistake. You're hearing the potential for total chaos. You know that if enough people start playing whatever they want, the symphony just collapses. It turns into meaningless noise. You know, there's actually a name for that awful jarring feeling. It's called cognitive dissonance. It's that very real stress you feel when what you believe, people should be fair, clashes with what you see, that person is being unfair. And when it goes uncorrected, it is genuinely psychologically painful. So look, this isn't just you getting frustrated. It's this deep, almost physical need for the world to make sense. It's a need for moral symmetry. You just have to see the scales brought back into balance. Okay, so if everything I've just said is hitting really close to home, I want you to consider something. What if this isn't a flaw in your personality? What if it's actually a vital function? I'm sure you've heard them all, right? You're too sensitive. You take things too personally. Why do you have to overthink everything? These labels, they can really start to wear you down. But here's the thing. What if they've got it all wrong? What if this isn't a flaw at all? What if it's your function? You are the person who notices when the system is starting to crack. You're the early warning system. You're a guardian, an integrity keeper. It's like this. You're not just some person obsessing over a crooked picture frame in somebody's house. No way. You're the one making sure the foundation of the whole building is solid. You're keeping the scales of justice balanced. And yeah, that's your role, isn't it? It's not an easy one. It often means you have to choose principle over popularity. First, you're the one who notices the problem. Then you feel that dissonance, that pain. Then you have to sound the alarm, even if no one else wants to hear it. And by doing all that, you fight to keep the social contract strong for everyone.
So call it what you want, a justice warrior, a truth seeker, a systemizing mind. At the end of the day, it means you're an integrity keeper. And that perspective of yours, it's not a burden. It is an absolutely vital asset. So I'll just leave you with this question, because it really makes you think. In a world where it's always easier to just look the other way, what would happen if the integrity keepers went silent? Who would be left to guard the rules? Your inability to just let it go might be exactly what's holding everything together. Thanks for listening.